G'day Ranker, welcome back. I got asked this question during the week by Kim, thanks for the question Kim, and that was, how does Google AI mode surface links for websites to send you to based on the chat that you're having with it? What's the selection process there? Because it's akin to, I guess, ranking in Google search. And to put some context into this, I said last week that it would be great if Google put relevant ads in amongst our chats. And they've announced just this week that's going to happen. So what we're seeing here is this transition from the old Google search idea to this new chat answer engine, if you like, idea. And the fundamentals are basically the same as we've been saying. What's changed now, though, is Google itself with Gemini Pro and how it's embedded itself in AI mode. Because what we're seeing is the recommendations coming out of AI mode matching what we would see, say, in the organic results for a comparative search. It's not going to be the same sort of search because let's remember, as I showed you with the 3D printer example, that I'm asking key questions about product type, all sorts of things. I can't do that in Google search. Now, it's a longer process to find what you want, say, than if it's a brand search. So if I wanted to just go to someone's website, I'm using Google search as a navigation tool. Like most people, the higher searches within Google itself are brands. So if I want to go to JB Hi-Fi, I'm just typing JB Hi-Fi into Google and then I'm clicking on the link. That doesn't work that well, as we've shown and demonstrated in chat models, because they want to tell you all about the brand and everything else. You don't want to know that. You just want to go to the site. It's a navigation search, right? So Google search is still doing that really well, and that's my tool for that, especially if it's a product search or anything like that. Something specifically I know. And what I showed you last week is that it would have been handy if I had some links directly out of Gemini Pro. But AI mode is where you will see those sorts of links, and now you will see those sorts of ads, as we said, was a great idea. The Gemini is much better at matching to what we already see in organic now. When we had Google Bard a couple of years ago and the early Gemini, that wasn't the case. And it was just like, well, this is confusing as hell. AI overviews is recommending sites that don't even appear on page one organically for my search. That's happening less and less now. And with Gemini Pro embedded into AI mode, it's a much better experience. So what the fundamental difference between these two models is that one is looking to match the user's questions and queries exactly and find an exact match for them based on researching all the data. The search algorithm isn't doing that. It's just looking at things like keyword relevancy, authority, experience, all those sorts of things that we've talked about before, the old SEO stuff. One of the, I guess, fundamental differences is that, and I've said this before, some of the things that we may have done for structured data that we're now doing for large language models, we weren't doing for Google because the juice wasn't just worth the squeeze, basically. So like an FAQ on every product page, and we couldn't get, the cost of doing that back in the day. It just wasn't worth doing. Now we can get those done quickly with our own apps that we've developed to create those FAQs. Plus, we're looking more at the structured data types that we may not have considered for Google, just so we can signpost and really structure a document in a way that the large language models can see the relationship to things. And that's what we're looking at doing now. And so the fundamentals haven't changed. And what features majorly in all of this, of course, is your brand. And brand is an authority signal, of course, and it's also a freshness signal if you are getting searches in Google for your brand, and also Google is finding citations out there on the web. So you're still going to hear a lot of people say you still need backlinks. Typically, they're selling backlinks. I would take that budget that you think might be spending in that and throw it into something like structured data, getting that all up to date, or maybe even looking at some sort of PR campaign. We've got systems in place now that we're working on to start to not automate that entire process of PR for clients, but putting ideas in their head based on articles of the day and how we can insert their brand into a news story. And that's the whole newsjacking concept that we've talked about before, as written about by David Meeman Scott, and actually his term as well. So fundamentally, focus on the customer, be relevant, make sure your content is easily accessible. And that includes things so many times for e-commerce businesses, like shipping costs and delays and returns and all those sorts of things that you may not have concerned yourself about for ranking in Google. But now it's really important, because we need to show the large language models where all that information is and how it relates to the conversation that the shopper is having with its shopping assistant, essentially, in Google AI mode. Hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully that's answered a lot of questions. The way I put all this together and got up to speed quickly on all this was that I went and did a deep research report, threw it into NotebookLM, and then did a quiz, and I got most of the questions right. There were a couple I didn't, which annoyed me. But it's a great way of learning. Do a deep research report on something, and then go and do a quiz on it. Read the report. I didn't in this case. I still did the test. But always look for hallucinations or things that you're a subject matter expert in that you know not to be true, and watch out for those things, because they're still out there. And we will see you next week. Please always remember to like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. Thanks very much. Bye.